So next, we have Anelia, the founder of How to Breast Cancer. Come on. I love your outfit.
Thank you very much.
So beautiful.
We have to be our own studio audience. So
This
we have
is
to
the
clap.
smallest chair
I know.
in the world.
It's like old school
Old
school chairs,
Old
right?
School, that's right.
Yes.
Good morning and
Good
to see you guys.
morning. We're so
Thank you.
excited to have
Thank you. For
you.
having me. Thank you for having me.
So How to Breast Cancer. What
Yes.
is this?
Yes. So How to Breast Cancer at thebreastcancerguide.com is a platform that we created to help guide anyone going through a breast cancer journey, really understand how do they do this.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about what we know about breast cancer, there's a lot of information
Yes.
about screening and early detection, and that's super important and life-saving. And then there's the other end of the spectrum of survivorship and kind of getting over it. In the middle is this, how do you do all this?
Yeah.
And it's that patient space that is really fragmented. It's kind of all over the place, and we wanted to make that experience better. And so that's what we're
beautiful.
about. That's what we're focused on. Yeah.
And I think that's really important because I have a number of friends who've had breast cancer and lost some friends to breast cancer, and there is that. What do I do now?
Correct.
You get your diagnosis and you are bombarded with information, and even for loved ones in their world,
It's overwhelming.
what do you do? How do you support? So I think having a resource like this is crucial, frankly, to helping people get through and get past this experience.
Right, exactly. Or even stay on it, because
Or
many
stay on
people
it.
have to be on it for a long
For
time.
a long time. I mean, for some people, it's a life plan, and
That's the case for me.
yeah.
I think you make a great point, especially when you talk about the family members
Yeah.
that are impacted. You know, it could be a single mom with
Yeah.
kids, and now she can't even,
Yeah.
you know, provide or do for her kids
Yep.
like she's normally. So she's probably stuck in the whirlwind and probably need that assistance and need that help or that guidance. You know, so it's so many different pieces that fall because of this. You know, this situation. So that's great that you guys are there to be able to assist with that.
So how did this all start?
Yeah, so it started in 2019. I was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, and it was a complete shock to me, to say the least.
Right.
And the first year was really hard, and I found many of these things you're saying, right? There were so many gaps, and I needed this information, or I didn't really know where to turn without feeling completely overwhelmed, and I already was feeling
Yeah,
overwhelmed.
of course.
So a year later, after that first year, I started getting better. Last year, we decided to launch this site, and I wanted to take all of the learnings that I experienced and the things that I thought this could be so much better,
Right.
and make a better way forward. You know, when you think about the numbers, there are 4 million people in this country living with breast cancer, and each year, roughly 290,000 women and men are diagnosed. So for those individuals, for their families, you know, for
Yeah.
that, having a better way forward is a space that we want to create, and we want to have a place where people can come, and information is patients speaking with patients, which is
Right.
also important.
Yes.
Taking nothing away from the medical community, they're
Yeah.
really important, but a patient that's walked in that experience and knows what you're going through and can help you get there is something that we want to do. And that's what really inspired me to say, I've got to do something with all this that I've now you know, amassed. And I'm still in treatment, and I will be for probably the rest of my life.
I think that it's so beautiful that you took this experience that, you know, could for a lot of people shuts you down. And you took this experience and are like, how can I help? How can I serve others?
That's right.
And I think that's very, very unselfish of you, because a lot of times when you're going through something like that, you feel alone.
Yes.
You may feel alone, and nobody's really thinking about helping others while you're going through your own, you know, your own situations. But for you to really step outside of yourself and understand, it's like, I'm going through something, but guess what? There's probably other people going. So I really want to help and assist. So that speaks volumes.
Thank you.
It
Thank
does.
you.
And for people who are hearing this, and I mean, I'm going to spread this with
Thank you.
everybody I know, because this is just life-changing, this platform where people can come for information. And what you said about connection, I think, is the biggest thing, because I think, like you said, even just from hearing a lot of my friends as they are on their journey, going to the doctor and you're getting this information, you're being told, here's what you do, but it's not helping you feel, and it's not helping you necessarily process, because you don't know how to communicate a lot of times, even what you're going through, to somebody who hasn't been through it. So how do people connect through your platform? Because I think that's a big, important part.
And what you're saying is exactly right. You go to the doctor and they do their very best to get you started. But for me, it was, I got a binder of materials and it was helpful, but it wasn't going to sustain me, right? So when patients or loved ones or anyone comes to our website, they will see that we have one of our most visited section is our toolkit section. And so they come on and we have a toolkit that's called Getting Started. And it is exactly what you're describing, which is what are the steps I've got to take to at least understand how I frame this up, how I start to understand the questions I need to ask.
Yeah.
Many times you don't even know what to ask your doctor
No.
because you're overwhelmed. You're not prepared. So we break it down to, you can download the information. Here's a checklist to get you started. Here's what to expect as you're entering into chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is this overwhelming thing that people hear about, horror stories, and a lot of it is really, really tough.
Yeah.
But we help you with here's how, day one, here's what happens the week of, and I wish I'd had a little bit more of that with also the texture of how do I customize it.
Right.
So we have, our site is constructed with a section that has a lot of blogs, and again, it's patients writing and speaking with patients.
Beautiful.
Right. We have an experience section where we have what are practices that you can incorporate, like meditation and breath work and what foods to eat. I love to eat too, so that's a big deal to me. I love my food, but you have to really manage how you're eating through the process. And then the other section of our site is on laughter, because you have to find humor and levity to get through this. So the stories that we feature are funny moments, even in treatment. So things that have happened even in the midst of the madness that are just super hilarious. And so we post that out there. We have a podcast series and also a YouTube channel, so that for the folks that prefer to just watch and understand something versus having to read it, they can do that too. And then our subscribers get a monthly newsletter, and we pull in other content from all reputable sources. So we really take time. If we feature an article, it's an article that we feel strongly can be helpful, as opposed to just anything that you find out there on the web.
That's amazing.
So you guys have been up and running about 2 years now?
1 year. So the first year I was still, in the super aggressive chemo. Now I'm still on a chemo, but it's a little bit, allows me to still be able to do some things, right? So we're coming up on our 1 year and continuing to expand. And it's a space, again, that we know we can make an impact, and we want to do it.
Sure.
And this is just a web platform. Is there an office, or is there a place for people to visit, or should they just visit the website?
It's a website, so it's an online platform, and again, our expansion is through the YouTube channel, so that people can, we ultimately want to get to a place where we do kind of like a master class, so you can log in, and a lot of times that's what happens, because patients are tired, they don't necessarily want to drive somewhere, you've got to drive to the treatment room, and that's overwhelming, so they can just visit us, and we're right there, and we're going to continue to expand from that, so that's really good.
Wonderful. I mean, because I think too, then they can do it on their time. If you're having a down day, you don't need to read anything. If you're having a day where you're feeling a little bit more energized and want to learn and grow in your journey, you can just log on.
That's the most important thing, because what happens a lot of times is that you're either too tired or things are where you have to go somewhere to get the service. And sometimes folks are in remote areas and they don't have the same access. So we want to be able to bring that to you, and you can pace yourself and do it as you wish.
And see, that's not local. Like you can reach people
across the world.
Our intention is that. Our intention is
So
that.
have you been able to track how many visitors or how many people coming to the site really signing up?
We are.
And what's that number?
Yeah, so funny you mentioned that. So our number continues to grow. So we started at the beginning, very few, and now we're averaging, we get 3,000 hits or more, on articles, and then we have people that are also, funneling that article to other people. So again, we're still in that early stage, but we feel very confident that because of the experiences that we've had, that people, and when people send us comments, they'll say, oh my goodness, I wish I'd had this when I started, or I'm already in it, but I've gone back and made some course corrections now that I know this other stuff. So it's a fresh set of eyes of an experience that a patient would otherwise not be able to have in a synthesized way. Because there's a lot of information out there, but it's all over the place.
That's incredible.
We want to change that.
I love it. I love it. I haven't really heard of. I know there's a lot of
I've
other
never heard of
programs out
anything
there,
like
but
this.
nothing like this. really when it comes to combating that and fighting and assisting with people that have cancer.
And people tell us that. People tell us that there's a great information, and we work with other nonprofits that are focused on advancing research and for metastatic especially, which is so underfunded and sorely needs help. But to have something that is, we've picked our lane, and our lane is the patient experience.
Yep.
We don't want to own every lane. We want to really own that one and do it with excellence. And that's the difference between, I think, what we have as opposed to what is commonly found out
Well,
there.
earlier you said something, I think this what really stuck, and it was patient to patient.
Yes,
It is.
That
absolutely.
patient experience, and I think that really makes people really feel comfortable at the same time, because I'm talking to somebody that's not really just standing by and studying it. This person actually went through it.
I went through it. I lost my hair. In 2019. That's I could have been
now
right
it's
there next to you. Yeah, exactly. It's back. And I'm keeping it short intentionally because but it's choices that you have to make,
Yes.
and it's how do you get through all that and the
Yes.
shock of it and all the side effect management.
Yeah.
It's insane. So, but we're excited. We're expanding, and we're also super excited about taking the website to Spanish. So Spanish is actually my first language. I was born in Cuba.
Oh my gosh,
and
that's
so
cool.
in the next couple of months, we are going to have all of the content also available in Espanol for all of our Hispanic community, which is also really important to us to reach and to make an impact there.
I'm just blown away. I'm blown away by what you've done in a relatively short amount of time,
you.
if you're thinking about it. And wow, you're healing.
Yes.
So,
It's super fun.
that is, and I think that it gives people a place to go where you can learn and educate yourself and feel less alone.
That's
So
the
where do
thing.
people find this incredible resource?
So our site is called thebreastcancerguide.com. That's
Okay.
the actual URL for it. And then once you go on, then we guide you through it. We say, here's a way to start. We're also going to be adding this journey map so that it's a little more interactive. So you can say, okay, I'm over here in the journey. So maybe these are the 3 or 4
So
things
maybe
I
you don't need these other
Maybe you don't
things.
need that, right? Or
Okay.
you could at least start here to get
Yeah.
yourself organized. And that's all leading up to this October. We're doing an event, which will be our fundraiser event of the year, again, in honor of National Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Cool.
So that'll be here in Delray. So we're doing something local. We'll do a fashion show, kind of dinner thing, more details to
Yeah.
come. We're working on that.
How beautiful.
So we are, and all the proceeds of that, again, will go to two key organizations that we work with, Living Beyond Breast Cancer and MetaViber. They're the two that we partner the most with.
Great. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
joining us.
having
And
me
thank
here.
you for
Thank
what
you.
you're doing for everyone. I mean,
you.
this really is so important, and we're so lucky that you have built this for everyone.
It's an honor for me to do it.
Yes,
it's
and
my
you're a
pleasure.
true fighter.
Seriously. I mean, and then to look so good doing it all
Thank you very
on top
much.
of everything
I
else.
brushed my hair this morning.
Well, you look stunning. Thank you so
you
very
for having
much.
me, you
It was
guys.
so
Thank
nice
you.
meeting you.
Thank you.